few months ago, you relocated to Daytona Beach, Florida, after 5 years in Colorado. Pretty much everything is different. Your job, the landscape, the weather. You still have the same airplane, however, a Ryan Navion, in which you've accumulated 473 hours out of about 600 total time. Today, you're taking a 2-hour flight from Daytona Beach to Albany, Georgia, to visit an old friend. The weather over most of the route is marginal, with an air met for moderate turbulence from the surface to 10,000 feet. Previous routes show that direct was approved several times, so you file that for 9,000 feet, which is the correct altitude for Florida, where cruising altitudes divide north-south rather than east-west. The clearance comes back as filed. That's a plus given you'll be bucking headwinds over 20 knots all the way. You depart, enter the clouds, and start getting tossed around almost immediately. You're usually fine with turbulence, but this is pretty uncomfortable. Climbing through 6,500, you laugh to yourself when you realize that's the altitude of your former house in Colorado. The highest point in Florida is only 345 feet MSL. Leveling off at 9,000, you're still in the clouds and the turbulence isn't as bad, but it's still giving your shoulder harness a workout. You request higher to try to get on top of it. At 10,500, you break out and the ride improves. You level off at 11,000. You feel a bit like you just hiked up a mountain, too. Happy to be on top, yet pretty beat up, with a nasty headache. You know you didn't hit your head on the ceiling, so you figure it's from your brain hitting your skull. Or could it be the altitude? You're in good shape for someone in their mid-40s, jog daily, and used to fly in the low teens when you lived in the Southwest. Maybe you're getting soft now that you're a flatlander again. In all those years flying around Colorado, you meant to buy both a pulse oximeter and a carbon monoxide detector, but you never did. You're kicking yourself for that now. Center hands you off to the next sector. The headache seems to be getting worse, though. You reach for the bottle of ibuprofen you always keep in your flight bag and take 2 tablets along with a big drink of water. It's only a bit more than an hour to Albany, where weather should allow a VFR descent and landing. But that's another hour of flying with a headache if the ibuprofen doesn't kick in. You could descend back to 9,000 or so. You'd be in and out of the tops, but at a lower altitude, and still above the worst turbulence you felt on climb out. Even on this direct route, you could get down to 5,000, or probably even 3,000, which might rule out an altitude headache. There's no telling how turbulent it might be, however. Or you could just land now. Lake City Gateway is just 10 miles to the west. Its latest METAR says overcast 1,500, so you'd have to fly an approach, probably in turbulence, but you'd be on the ground. There's also just turning around and going home. With the tailwinds, it would be about 45 minutes, but the weather is moving in that direction too. What will you do? 1. Continue for Albany. It's only an hour and you can stay above the turbulence and land VFR. 2. Ask for a descent down to 9,000 and continue for now. 3. Ask for a descent down to 3,000 and continue for now. 4. Divert to get on the ground at Lake City. Don't launch again until the headache is gone. 5. Turn around and return to Daytona. Analyze the resources and make your choice.